Nestled in the South Pacific, just north of Australia, lies Papua New Guinea, a remarkable nation filled with countless communities isolated from one another amongst the vast and intimidating rainforest landscape. Traversing the skies, bringing help, hope, and healing is MAF, Mission Aviation Fellowship, a Christian organization that's been serving the remote areas of PNG since 1951.
My name is Matthias Glass. I'm a German. I came to Papua New Guinea in 2007. That was my first time when I set foot here on this airport in Mount Hagen. And since then, almost 18 years, I'm a pilot with MAF.
My name's Bridget Ingham. I am a pilot with MAF PNG. I've been in country for 2.5 years, started in January 2022. I'm originally from New Zealand, from Lower Hutt, and I've been a pilot basically since I was 19. Working for MAF every day is different. So one day you might be doing coffee and trade store runs to help micro-enterprise in the bush, and other days you might be doing medivacs, or you might be dropping off health teams.
I think what I personally like the most, the combination between planes and helping people, so they can receive medical attention, they can receive education, they can receive the gospel, and with that eternal life, and that is much more valuable than just flying airliners.
With a full flight itinerary ahead of them, Matthias and Bridget launch into their preparation. The day has only just begun, and already Matthias is hit with a brand new challenge.
Ground operations manager approached me with a change of plans, and he's asking if we can change the order of our flight for today, because we have got a patient transfer to Sindiap today as well, and the patient is already here. It is scheduled on the third flight, which is the last flight, which happens roughly maybe at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. But we want to give the patient more comfort, so we want to have the patient out on the first flight. That means the first flight needs to go to Sindiap and not to Sengapi. So you're saying he cannot sit on his own. What does that mean?
He's very weak.
Very weak, so he needs a guard next to him.
That's what I think.
But then he can sit on a double seat, for example. Is that possible?
He's very old and he can't talk. Someone is talking on behalf of him. So.
I see.
Yeah.
What about using a stretcher?
Yeah, do we need a stretcher? That is the question now.
The guy who did the arrangement said he can sit on his own unless there's a guardian.
It didn't look to me like he could sit for
right.
a long period of time. Even for a sort of like for his comfort as well. I would say we use the stretcher.
Okay.
And then that may mean that we take one more seat out. They paid for one, but it is what it is.
We need to take one more seat out. We can potentially put it on the right-hand seat near the door, and then we can still take all the passengers we have booked on.
Excellent.
Let's try that. Let's get the stretcher on board. So the information I got is that the patient arrived on a public car. It was a public transport car, and that means the public transport car can't wait for 5 hours until we finally get the flight. The patient had a broken bone. I'm not quite sure which it was, but the patient could not move easily. He needed to be transported on a stretcher, so we couldn't put him somewhere in the waiting area on chairs, for example. So there was a sense of urgency, and as I knew I had to make a decision fast because time is running, and the time lost we never can catch up. I will have a look at the patient now just to get an idea of what he needs and what we can do. We need to put him on a stretcher. So he needs to lay in the plane, he needs to have a stretcher, and then we need to arrange everything to make it happen. So just wait a little bit. We probably need 20-30 minutes to change the flights around, to book our passengers in and the cargo, and then we need to prepare the plane, put the stretcher in, and arrange everything, and then we will come with the stretcher, put him on the stretcher, and then we carry him to the plane. So we just wait like 20-30 minutes for us to get ready. Okay, I will change the flight plan around, and we need to have the stretcher ready, and I will open up the plane and do a daily first, and then we can load. Okay. I walked to the car and I had a look at the old man, and he was smiling. And for some reason that touched my heart, and I thought I have to help him. And I thought Jesus would probably have done the same. There's a sick man, and Jesus would have helped him, healed him. I can't heal, but I can help him. Okay, now I'm changing my flight program around, and the second flight will be towards Dusin, and then we go back to Hagen, and the third flight is going towards Sengapi, and then we are going back to Hagen in the afternoons. Alright, I need to hurry up a little bit because now we've lost some time, and I probably need to do a daily now, and then we can load. The daily is a pre-flight inspection of the plane to make sure everything is working and everything is according to our standard operating procedure, because we just can't stop in the air to sort out bits and pieces or to clean the windshield, for example, so I need to do this before we actually go fly.
I'm one of the chief leader. I'm chief leader, I'm already console before. Now I'm running 25 years. I'm staff leader from Miprado place.
Okay, what they're saying is the patient is actually their chief in the community, is their community leader. He's been our village ward councillor for 25 years, and that is the guy we are talking about this situation.
Me, I'm a mass press from remote Nunga road car. I'm MAF Tasol, I'm saving life from Manasep. Now I'm big something. I'm Balusi got booking Golonar plus schedule, but long person Tasolia, I'm work way, I'm MAF to long country, long work there, I'm just like I work. So me, I'm a master, me to take you long, I'm MAF long. How am I working work with the people remote areas?
Yeah, basically he's saying that he is very happy with what MAF does. His area is a remote place, and indeed for a lot of other places, he comes from a remote place, and what MAF does is a lifeline for them.
We heard the man had a fall in his village, resulting in complicated fractures, and was flown by helicopter to the hospital. The hospital, however, couldn't help him to get back on his feet. Together with his tribesmen, the decision was made for him to return home.
Okay, now I have it. Okay. Me up in body, now you push him. You end up long push him? You push him.
Sorry. Itu ram look memoraito. Memoraita.
Yeah.
Okay, good luck.
With the sun on her back and Matthias already in the air, Bridget pulls together the final stages before gathering her passengers and taking to the skies.
So today's flight is going to Malamanda and Kompium. We'll be taking some trade store goods there. Trade store goods often supplement the food that the bush people are able to grow in their respective villages. So if you can only grow sweet potato, then having other things makes your diet a little bit more interesting. So somebody might set up a trade store and the profit might be used to help with the school fees for kids in the village, or help to pay for flights for medevacs for the community, and that's kind of where the trade store things fit in to the process. So the other thing we'll be taking is our Bible box. So the Bible box is one of our ministries that we take with us out to the bush. The Bible not only is something to read, but something with that eternal message of salvation is so valuable. We will sell the Bibles there for a discounted price. We don't give them away, because by getting people to actually give us some money for them, it places some value on that item. So I'll just show you what's inside here. This is our Bible box. Primarily Bibles, as the name goes. So these are the small Tokpesim Bibles. And we've also got the larger print Bibles. That's got pictures in it as well, so quite a lot of churches and that will use these ones. We've also got 6 different comics of different Old Testament characters. books. There's also these sort of story books which are illustrated, different Bible stories. And then there's commentaries, dictionaries, handbooks and things as well. And the reading glasses that we basically sell them at cost, which is about $2. They're very popular as well. So we'll take this with us and see how things go today. Our passengers are on the way. We haven't been able to get a weather report from Malamunda, so I just said to them, well, we'll just go and try. So it'll be kind of like the old days where you try it and see what you get.
Mike Alpha Lima ready for taxi, POB 10.
With Bridget's day running like clockwork, we return to Matthias as he prepares to land his rescheduled flight in Zendia. So far, his precious passenger is doing well and will soon be reunited with his friends and family. No doubt, this remote community, numbering less than 1,000 people, will be relieved to see the return of one of their esteemed leaders.
I need some people to carry the stretcher, please. And this one. Now, you nap and raus in this strap. One pelaman come along this side, one pelaman come along this side, now hold him head belong in. One pelaman come, now hold him strong, no good and put on. Okay.
Oh, just because of the plane, it made it possible for the patient to get to Zendia. If there wasn't any airline like MAF, I don't think we'll be here.
Yes, indeed. I'm really satisfied. The air pressure down here is a little bit higher, and I was concerned that the patient feels some pain, but he was still smiling, so I think that was a success. So that is good. And now he's back home, and I could see he's recognizing his Wontox, like the family already. So that's good. Yeah, it touches me every time I'm doing a flight to remote villages, because I see there's no road going in. They only can walk for days through the jungle or crossing dangerous rivers, or they can use the plane. Especially in the highlands, there's no canoe available or something else, and they rely on air transport on many remote communities here in Papua New Guinea.
With Zendiab's leader returned, Matthias has just enough time to unload some much-needed resources for the community and to board some new passengers. Dealing with so many variables can't be easy, but with almost 18 years of experience under his belt, Matthias takes it in his stride. Later in the day, he has a scheduled flight to Zingapi in support of that village's micro-enterprise. The mission is to collect from them 500 kilos of coffee and to transport it to Mount Hagen.
62 rotation and 70 for the climb out.
Okay, that's looking good. Speed will keep coming back. Wind is okay. Crossing the river, we're now committed to land.
I think the thing that gives me the most satisfaction is actually being at the grassroots level of helping people here. PNG is a country with a lot of need, and various groups have come through previously and kind of done surveys and said, look, if MAF came to your area, could they help? And the answer is always yes. I can make a difference in the lives of those individual people that I'm serving on any one particular day and give what I can on that particular day to that particular person. That's what's really rewarding. To be able to do it as well using the skills and abilities that I've got, it makes those skills and abilities worthwhile as well. It gives extra value to those. So it's more than just flying a plane, it's what you're doing with that to help people.
While serving the community in Malamunda, Bridget discovered an amazing story of how MAF saved the life of a young man named Charles.
MAF saves many lives around the remote areas, not only Charles, but others like Charles all around these ranges. He went down to cross Mary River. Just near the river there is a big tree. So they climbed up. He climbed up to try to get a walnut. Unfortunately, that tree, branch of the tree was decaying, and then he just fell down.
He fell down about 10 metres onto rocks and broke the bones all the way up his left leg and his left arm. And the pastor told me how he and some other men had to go to him, make a stretcher out of bush materials, so find some branches and some leaves and things to make a stretcher, and then carry him from where that was. Would have had to carry him up the side of a cliff all the way back to the village and the airstrip. And MAF was able to go in and fly him from there to Compium. That's a journey he would never have survived if he'd had to be carried there on his own. And it's the sort of injury that you wouldn't have survived it if he'd been treated at the bush clinic. So he absolutely needed to go to hospital. So for MAF to be able to help this young man and essentially save his life, I'm actually really humbled to be part of an organisation that's saving people's lives like that. And it's those kinds of things that make all of the other difficult things of the job here so worthwhile, to know that you're making a real difference in people's lives.
The weather for the day continues to hold as Matthias approaches Zingapi. Supporting micro-enterprises is vital for these remote communities. Without the support of MAF, many would have no way of getting their goods to market and earning some much-needed cash for their village.
Briefing is 72, fuel selector, notice radar brakes, your damn radar, terminal lights, ignition, pre-landing checklist completed. Landed successfully. 0318.
Everything appears to be going to plan until Matthias notices that the 500 kilos of coffee that they've asked him to collect isn't waiting for him at the designated parking bay. He unloads the goods that he's brought for the village and discovers that the local community are hoping that he can turn the plane around and pick up the cargo from back down the runway at a different parking location.
If I start the engine, that costs us 200 kina. Every time we start the engine, I'm 200 kina. Now you give him money long MF or no got?
Sorry,
it's right. Yeah, me too, me sorry. So, this la thing you must kiss him.
Yes,
Kiss him good, this la thing. Next time you must talk Sava before.
Okay.
It was the first time that the agent asked me to use the second parking bay, which is halfway down the strip. So I was a bit angry and I tried to push back on this idea to tell him, no, we are not doing it. But then he told me, we have got all this 500 kilo of coffee and we don't want to drag all the coffee to the first parking spot. So I said, okay, I can see your motivation and I want to help you. So you don't have to carry all the coffee bags to the parking bay. I will switch on the engine again, start up and taxi the plane down maybe 200 meters to the second parking bay. While I was doing this, I had a quick, brief assessment of the parking area on the second parking bay. They just cut the grass and looked like a golf course, really nice and neat. And I thought, easy, I will just do a right-hand turn and I park the plane so it's easy for them to just load the coffee into the plane. Now we are stuck. It looked good from the cockpit, but this ground here is so soft that the wheels really digged in and I had to use takeoff power and the plane was not moving anymore. So what we need to do is I told the agent this is the last time. This is the last time we are using this parking bay because this parking bay is way too soft.
Sorry.
Now, I need probably 100 people to help me to pull out the plane.
Okay.
Do you have 100 people?
Yes.
50 on one side, 50 on the other side. Yes? Now you need to work.
Yes, thank you.
You can push in this lataya, you can push him also. Okay, good pillar. Okay. So you pillar sub ready? Okay. All right. So you pillar sub ready? You pillar ready?
Yes.
You pillar ready? Yes. Okay. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Pull him, pull him, pull him. Let's go. Pull him, pull him, pull him. Let's go. Come here, take him on, no kids like him. Bruce and Mark bring. Okay, good pillar line, thank you too. Me mamas, brothers and mamas, MAF and mamas. Okay, thank you, and that's all. They had more power and strength than I expected. I didn't expect them to pull the plane out, but they did. So, but I helped a little bit as well, did I?
Finally, the plane is free and the coffee can get loaded. At least that's what Matthias was hoping for. However, he's just discovered that there are a lot more people hoping to get tickets to fly to his next location than he was aware of. This means the plane will be too heavy. As a result, the coffee will have to wait for a few more days.
So all this effort, taxiing down the plane to the parking bay, pulling it out again out of the soft ground, was for nothing at the end. But what happened in that moment is I was able to work and connect with the community, make a lot of fun, and we were working together. And this is an experience. I think they are still talking about this.
MAF is really playing an important role in PNG. And even in spiritual, MAF is providing important, both in medical, both in physical, for our social transport, and even the spiritual as well, because through MAF, goodness has been spread to our remote areas as well.
I was selling solar lights. We are bringing the light to the bush, but I also had the Bible box. And in the Bible box we had the good news and the gospel. And for me it was like we are having the solar lights, bringing light to the bush, but the real light which lasts forever, for eternity, that is the gospel. And for me it was much more viable to bring the Bible in Tok Pisin to the remote communities so they can read, learn and transform their lives to have eternal life and eternal light at the end as well.
I think what we do really matters to Jesus because we are the ones who are looking out for the ones and twos out there in remote places. So many airstrips that we go to and people will tell us, MAF is the only balus, the only aeroplane that will come to our village. The other operators, they won't go here because it's not financially viable for them, but MAF actually cares about us. And so for us to go there, and everybody knows that we are a Christian organisation, they know that we represent Jesus, and so we are essentially Jesus to them when we turn up.
So there's this story in the Bible where a man has 100 sheep and one is lost, so he's leaving 99 sheep behind just to find the one lost sheep somewhere in the bush. Just like Jesus went through all this effort to find the one lost, we are carrying a lot of efforts and challenges as well to send a plane to remote communities just to do what Jesus would have done or would like us to do, to touch the life of the lost.